Hey guys, welcome back to 30th Century Reverie Media. Today we have a bit of a different video. I'm going to be talking about If on a Winter's Night a Traveller by Italo Calvino and how I believe he predicted the tropeification of books on Booktok. Let's get right into it. We'll begin with a synopsis of the book and what it's about, just in case you don't know, even though I would 100% recommend reading this before watching this video to kind of just see if you agree with me and get your own interpretation. From the back of the book, you go into a bookshop and buy If on a Winter's Night a Traveller by Italo Calvino. You like it, but there's a printer's error in your copy. You take it back to the shop and get a replacement, but the replacement seems to be a totally different story. You try to track down the original book you were reading, but end up with a different narrative again. And through this, we are taken on a journey through 10 different novel beginnings that the character you, because yes, those chapters are in the second person, finds along their journey. This journey takes them through different publishing houses. He meets this girl who also got the error copy, and things just get crazier from there. Now, why is this relevant to tropeification on Booktok? First of all, let's define the term. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm sure you've seen that a lot of new books on Booktok in the more romance and contemporary genres are marketed through tropes a lot now rather than genres. It's very common to see a video like, this book has enemies to lovers, guys, you'll love it, or found family, or, other ones like sharing a bed because there's no other bed, like being forced to be together and stuff. There's dozens more, okay, but you totally get the idea. It's very common for a lot of new books to be pitched around tropes and sold and marketed through tropes rather than genres. This book plays a lot with genre, not just because we are dipping into 10-ish different genres, but the fact that marketability and assembly line books become a big part of the plot. So let's get into my thoughts. A big theme that shows up a lot early on in the book is what it means to be a reader, different types of readers, how being a writer impacts reading, how publishing impacts reading, how reading for fun really isn't compatible with having to read for work. So, Ludmilla, the female character that you interact with in this book, really does not want to jump into the writing or reading for work thing at all. She is very concerned with reader being her main identity. Now, when I'm talking about tropification, she is one of the key things for explaining my ideas here. She constantly throughout the book says certain books she would like to read. Oh, I would love to read a book with insert pretty niche feelings here. So, realistically, this book is all about desire. When we reach for certain genres, we are looking to experience certain emotions. When we reach for certain tropes, we are looking to experience certain emotions. But Italo Calvino both praises the genre and warns against the commodification of the genre. And that's why I think this book is so genius, even though it also functions as a really cool like metafictional mystery with loads of hints throughout the novel excerpts and kind of expounding upon the reader's uncertainty and confusion as they trudge through the novel. Like, it's just such a good time, this book. Seriously. Probably one of my favorite reads of the whole year. So, yeah, there's a bit of publishing world commentary in this, which, again, this is going to lead into the more critique of the genre and the watering down of stories into genres and then blah blah blah, blah further into tropes. There spoilers section now. Basically, Ludmilla's sister creates a computer of sorts that reads novels and then kind of ranks the words within them to rate whether they're good or bad politically while completely ignoring the story. So there's a lot about, again, just watering down a story into its very key surface level facets, like tropification. He mentions false books a lot, and I think that what he is partially trying to defend here is our desire to find truth within our novels, to find truth within fiction, and that over relying on publishing houses, marketing terms, really removes the truth and makes it a false product. It's almost like a simulation of the emotions rather than a true capturing of a real story, which is what a really good fiction work is supposed to be, at least in my opinion. Another thing about the theme of desire in this book is that it really, really captures imagination, attaches to fragments, and how we yearn so much for satisfaction in fiction, how we want to know the ending, how the story continues. That's the entire driving point of the entire plot. Similarly, when we are looking for new books to read online nowadays, we are completely spoiled for choice. In fact, one could say there's almost too much choice. When it comes to classics, you have endless amounts, and then new books, it seems like there's a new book going viral every single day if you keep up with more contemporary books that are marketed on TikTok and such. And not even to mention now, the whole self publishing world has exploded. So there's even more authors out there who are able to somehow garner an audience by themselves. So, yeah, I think as well the desire that Ludmilla expresses over and over again is just really speaking to how we as readers are insatiable, but we also are insatiable even when we are given what we want because there's always more out there. End of the novel, you, the protagonist, basically want the answer to all of the books, right? You're not just satisfied with if on a winter's night a traveler. You want to know the answer to everything that has happened. But the entire point of this book is the uncertainty is the point, right? The desire is the point he is making. It's not supposed to be satisfying in that sense. Now, the ending with the spoilers, marriage between you and Ludmilla, and then you're reading in bed together, it's very sweet, but at the same time, I don't think he really means for that to undermine his themes at all. It's more so the continuation of the search for the perfect story, for the perfect moment. I am not even getting into all the amazing metafictional elements that almost satirize elements of certain genre fiction, such as when Calvino is addressing you, like, why are you relating with all the female characters in here, like trying to get with them and stuff? Isn't that a bit like not so good? And then now this has just been a little bit of a ramble about what I feel about this book. It's just so in depth that I feel like with an unscripted video like this, I really can't do it justice. But I just wanted to talk about it. But I'll leave these as kind of the concluding thoughts. So I do believe that Calvino uh, had a bit of a concern about maybe the growing genre fiction of the 1950s and 60s and such. But yeah, nobody can be sure what is true and what is false, he says on page 212. So I don't think that it's a problem that we can really fully solve or anything like that. It's kind of more commentary, like this is how it is. Next is his commentary on kind of how we lose ourselves in stories and how they transcend the author. So, reading means stripping herself of every purpose, every foregone conclusion, to be ready to catch a voice that makes itself heard when you least expect it, a voice that comes from an unknown source, from somewhere beyond the book, beyond the author, beyond the conventions of writing, from the unsaid, from what the world has not yet said of itself and does not yet have the words to say. Quite powerful, I think, is sort of speaking to how there will be an endless amount of books written until the human race like explodes or something. Um Okay, last little bit. There's a lot about censorship and banned books in here too, and it's even like the limit that even the most omnipotent police cannot broach. Like how stories and literature will spread no matter what. Um, and I think in terms of book talk, that can go um, with sort of the whispers of summaries being spread. I feel, yeah, I'm still trying to connect with themes a little bit. Here's another quote near the end that I really loved. The world is reduced to a sheet of paper on which nothing can be written except abstract words, as if all concrete nouns were finished. Ooh. Again, it's that metafictional aspect where you almost feel like the words just reduce into nothing but an impression, an idea, which he also says something about that. Oh, yeah, every time I seek to relive the emotion of a previous reading, I experience different and unexpected impressions and do not find again those of before. So yeah, it's kind of almost Proustian in the way that it deconstructs the memory of how we experience books too. Like this book is so genius, lads. Um, and then the very last thing I want to say, with in terms of the whole desire theme I've been talking about, is that the promise of reading is enough, which is on almost the last page, right? The ultimate meaning to which all stories refer has two faces: the continuity of life, the inevitability of death. Ooh. Yeah, absolutely excellent book. To summarize, I feel that it warns against overly diluting our stories down to genres and promises made through marketing, but it also celebrates the diversity and desire to want to experience certain types of stories. So this is not an attack on Booktok kind of video. I just feel that Calvino, in a sense, had premonitions as to how we would continue to distill stories with the rise of massive publishing houses and such. So yeah, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Please subscribe. I'm a very small channel right now, trying to build it up. I might film my June wrap up right now as well, but we'll see. Thank you for watching.